Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fu. Next, we are honored to be able to invite the Senior Assistant to Double Crane Group CEO, Head of Nutritionist, Ms. Yuqi Ching, to conduct the product launching of Lingzhi Ganoderma tablets that will be launched in Malaysia. Ms. Yuqi Cheng has graduated with a bachelor degree in nutrition from the China Medical University in Taiwan and acquired her master degree from School of Nutrition and Health Science from Taipei Medical University. She has been with Shuang Hor Group for 8 years as a nutritionist and acquired countless experiences in health talks and consultation. She was also the organizer for multiple large-scale activities and supported many overseas business entities on Ganoderma sharing and online consultations. I believe that we can learn a great deal of knowledge from her on Ganoderma tonight. Now, let us please welcome our nutritionist, Ms. Cheng.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, General Manager Mr. Food, and the host of the introduction. And welcome to all the diamond leaders showing online to participate in tonight's session of the new Lingzhi product, Yangkang Ganoderma. And later, I will use the abbreviation YKC throughout the rest of the presentation. It is my pleasure to be here again to share all the latest Chinese biotech lab preclinical trial research on fighting against cancer with YKC. While I was thinking about this speech, I was reminded of some clients with cancer in Taiwan, and they have been taking YKC for a period of time and getting apparent improvement. I also feel excited about sharing the effectiveness of YKC in the following testimonies with you. Before the end of the presentation, I will also talk about the other functions of YKC. In addition to fighting against cancer, YKC can also deal with the dysfunction of brain neurons. The effectiveness is all proven by the Chinese biotech lab certified by GLP. Then I'm going to show the slide. Okay, here we go. There are 5 Lingzhi products in the group of equivalent targeted Lingzhi, which include YKI, YKB, YKK, YKS, and the YKC. From the past to the present, the most representative products could be YKC. YKC not only demonstrate that development of Lingzhi application from the general Lingzhi health supplement to biotechnology with targeted drug-like Lingzhi product, but also represent the most outstanding product of Shuang Hor. If you want to know the cutting-edge technique of Shuang Hor's Lingzhi product, YKC is the most important one you have got to know and shouldn't miss. Shuang Hor has been making great effort at the fields of Lingzhi research and having the expertise of inventing and producing the most effective Lingzhi product for over 35 years. CEO Mr. Gu has been leading a lot of experts to dedicate to the cutting-edge research and been involved in developing more effective, convenient, affordable Lingzhi product. However, this is not the end of the research and development of Lingzhi. With during the R&D and the production stage of equivalent targeted Lingzhi, it has set us a benchmark as the beginning of the biotechnology Lingzhi product, and hope you can grab some useful information after the following presentation. Thus, I'm going to start with explain the different production process between basic Lingzhi like Jiahou Lingzhi, Yangkang Lingzhi, and YK2, and the equivalent target Lingzhi like YKC and so on. Okay. For the basic Lingzhi products, Lingzhi fruit bodies were dried, and water were discarded. Crushing dry Lingzhi fruiting body into small chips, extracting by two steps to obtain ganoderic acid and polysaccharide from Lingzhi fruit bodies, and concentrating the fluid after extracting. Then the liquid of concentration Lingzhi fluid will be put in the rapid vacuum freeze drying. Going through the process, it will come out a solid foam after freezing and drying, like chocolate color bricks, and then grinding chocolate color bricks into powder, filling capsule up or filling powder into aluminum foil small packs is the end of the production process of basic Lingzhi. You can see the production process in person when you have a chance to visit the Yangkang Industry Cooperation in Taiwan. Equivalent Lingzhi contains the component both from Lingzhi fruit bodies and from Lingzhi mycelium. When the active constituent generated reached its highest stage in the fermentation of Lingzhi mycelium, technical steps will collect the fluid and the mycelium. The liquid and all substances should go through the process of drying, extraction, concentration, separation, purification, and freeze drying. It is the production procedure of equivalent targeted Lingzhi that make these products to contain high concentration and the purification of special and particular ganoderic acid or high molecular polysaccharides. Comparing to the basic Lingzhi product, YKK and YKS are abundant in leucinic acid. YKB enriches high concentration of 1316 beta-glucans, and YKC is filled with high concentration and purification of ganoderic acid T and S, and ganodermic acid S. In basic Lingzhi product, this specific component may exist, but the quantity should be very little. This is the obvious distinguishing feature between basic Lingzhi product and the equivalent targeted Lingzhi. But does it mean that basic Lingzhi products are not effective? No, it doesn't. Basic Lingzhi product also can deal with our health problem effectively. That means for a particular problem or of health or illness, we need to take much more capsule or packs of basic Lingzhi product than take equivalent targeted Lingzhi for seeing signs of recovery. For instance, for a patient with cancer, taking a bottle of Yangkang Lingzhi or 20 capsules of YK2 was very common in the past, but now patients with cancer they only have to take 4 tablets of YKC each day. The effectiveness and higher concentration results were proven by the Chinese biotech lab and no study, and this is applicable to all types of cancer, and that is a great step of development and great news to patients, especially for ones receiving medication. There are two main points that make equivalent target Lingzhi more effective for particular health problems. One of them is the exclusive technique of mycelium fermentation, and the other is the exclusive technique of separation and purification. According to the acknowledgement of Lingzhi mycelium fermentation from most industries and experts, there is no chance to generate ganoderic acid from Lingzhi mycelium fermentation. And Lingzhi mycelium fermentation only can produce polysaccharide. But we had a breakthrough, and we did it successfully. In our exclusive method, the key component of ganoderic acid in YKC are genuinely from Lingzhi mycelium fermentation. And the exclusive production of separation and purification is the other cutting-edge biotechnique. We discarded ingredient we didn't need and kept the active constituent we actually wanted by separating and identifying precisely. Let's show these graphs to explain more and let you imagine more specifically. Ganoderic acid, T, is well known as its efficiency in combating cancer. If we look into the composition of 1 gram of other Lingzhi product, group in basic Lingzhi, we suppose that if there is only 1%, that is 0.01 gram of ganoderic acid T, then almost over 99% of the ingredient are other components of Lingzhi fruit bodies. There are less concentration in other Lingzhi products, and their constituents are not as purified as YKCs. In contrast, the composition of 1 gram of YKC, the main ingredient of ganoderic acid T, could have at least 95% in YKC, and the less than 5% of the residual component are other ingredients for Lingzhi. Actually, due to the cutting-edge biotechniques of purification, I don't dare to say the concentration of ganoderic acid T in YKC is 100%. But I know the concentration of ganoderic acid T in YKC is absolutely over 95%. It is almost likely over 98%. It is reasonable for the patient with cancer only take 4 tablets of YKC to fight against cancer effectively rather than a large dosage. It also makes sense that we used to take a great amount of basic Lingzhi to combat cancer in the past. Because of the concentration and purification of the specific active constituent, like ganoderic acid TS and ganodermic S, we can have confidence that primary signs of improvement of cancer are visible by using a very small dosage of YKC. The effectiveness of YKC also has been proven by the Triennial Biotech Lab certified by GOP. The function of YKC is not only for fighting against cancer, but also modulating and balancing brain neurons to help us fall asleep and improve the disease of brain degeneration. Because of high concentration and purification of active constituents, they can pass through the blood-brain barrier into the brain cells and modulate brain neurons more easily. At first, I'm going to share the function of fighting against cancer of YKC. It is recommended to take YKC whether the patients are receiving cancer medication or not. In the process of cancer medication therapy, YKC can help facilitate effectiveness of medication and ease the side effects of cancer medication therapy. Before showing the data of YKC studies, we have to learn more about how cancer start, grow, and spread, then affect our bodies a lot, even kill us. Because of genes, aging, food, or pressure, the genes of normal cell can mutate and turn normal cells into cancer cells. Cancer cells don't act like normal cells. They don't have normal function. And they also can avoid being distinguished. They can also avoid being distinguished and killed by our immune system. As cancer cells can divide without control, a tumor will develop and grow. At the first stage, as a small tumor is forming, the tumor can grow easily and rapidly. They need a blood supply to bring nutrients to grow and survive. So the tumor will make new blood vessels to steal nutrients from body. That is why when we found the patients with cancer, they had the similar symptom, that is, apparent weight loss in the beginning. This is the second step called angiogenesis. Okay, when the new vessels are forming, tumors grow and get bigger rapidly. the possibility is extremely high for the tumor to become large enough. It is going to invade and migrate to surrounding organs or tissues like lymph nodes. That is the third step. To the next stage, it is much easier that cancer cells can get into the blood or lymphatic circulation system and spread to the distant parts of the body more easily. This is the fourth step, showing how cancer can affect our body severely. You may have heard of how a patient with cancer is diagnosed at which stage of cancer by the doctors. Like cancer diagnosis determined by referring to the different stage of cancer as I mentioned earlier. So if we want to resolve or control the problem of cancer effectively, that means we have to control and inhibit all steps of cancer growing process. Fortunately, YKC can inhibit every step of cancer development, and YKC can aim multiple targets of cancer growing process precisely. This is the main feature of YKC, which is its functionality combating cancer effectively. I'm going to show and explain this data and studies of every step being proven by the Triennial Biotech Lab certified by GOP. Triennial Biotech Lab certified by the good laboratory practice verify that YKC makes cancer cells hard to survive and prompt them to die. The principle of good laboratory practice is published and announced by OECD, and its fundamental purpose is to ensure the quality and integrity of test data. OECD is the abbreviation of Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and it is an international organization that works to build better policies, for our better lives. As a result, we know the lab obtained the certification of GOP is credible, and the data being proven by the GOP lab are trustworthy. This is the graph showing the rate of how cancer cells die. So how to interpret this graph? First, let's look at the graph divided into 4 areas showing the status of the cells. Because the weight and the appearance of living cancer cells and dead cancer cells are totally different, they can be measured and detected by the machine. So they are further divided into 4 zones. Living cancer cells will be divided into the lower left area, and the dead cancer cells will be divided into right areas. Dead cancer cells located in the upper right area means that these cancer cells died in the late stage of the cell cycle, called late apoptosis. However, dead cancer cells located in the lower right area means that cancer cells die in the early stage of the cell cycle, called early apoptosis. As I have said before, if we can stop cancer cells growing and dividing, even from cancer cells to die as early as possible at the first step of the cancer growing process, we can fight against cancer cells effectively. The data show that there are 85% cancer cells still living if they were treated without YKC. With the increasing dosage of YKC added, we can see that more and more cancer cells will die in the early stage. That is, 23.8% cancer cell could be dead by treating with medium dosage of YKC. And 53.7% cancer cells could be dead by treating with a high dosage of YKC. It is the clear evidence that YKC can kill cancer cells at an early stage, and YKC can inhibit the first step of the cancer growing process. To confirm that YKC can also inhibit the second step of the cancer growing process, Trineo Biotech Lab treated the mouse with angiogenesis medicine in the experimental group. We can see the tumor grew much larger than the control group by stealing nutrients through the process of the new blood vessels forming. We also test the hemoglobin content of the tumors. We observe that hemoglobin content of the tumor from the mouse treated with angiogenesis medicine was higher than the control group. While in the experimental group, we treated with mouse with not only angiogenesis medicine, but also YKC. We can see the result that the tumor shrank, obviously with YKC. The percentage of hemoglobin of the tumor from the mouse treated with YKC also declined. Here comes the conclusion. YKC can avoid tumors from getting bigger by inhibiting angiogenesis and keeping the tumors from stealing nutrients from nearby blood vessels. YKC can successfully inhibit the second step of the cancer growing process. Aim and shoot this target to stop cancer development. For the third step of the cancer growing process, Trineo Biotech Lab certified by GOP also verified that YKC can inhibit migration and invasion of cancer cells. The lab cultured cancer cell in the agar plate with growth medium and scratched a gap in the middle of the plate. Okay, and at the beginning, and waited for 12 hours. As time went by, the picture indicated that cancer cells treated with our YKC migrating and invading to the middle line and almost cover the gap scratched at the beginning. Conversely, the plate with cancer cell treated with low dosage or high dosage of YKC showed that cancer cells couldn't migrate or invade easily, especially with high dosage of YKC. After 12 hours, the gap in the middle still maintained a clear path, and it was as clear as possible. The ability of cancer cell to undergo migration and invasion allow it to change position within the tissues and damage surrounding organs. YKC can avoid this process effectively. For the fourth and the last step of the cancer growing process, that is metastasis, Trineo Biotech Lab also verified that YKC can inhibit cancer cell from spreading from original site to bones. Metastatic bone cancer is very common for all types of cancer at the final phase, and it also affects the patient's lifespan tremendously. The incidence rate of metastasis of lung cancer being 40%, and the incidence of rate of metastasis of breast cancer being 70%. Both of them are high occurrences for human beings. Trineo Biotech Lab mimic the disease found in humans by doing an animal study with mice with final phase of lung and breast cancer. Let's take a look at the picture in the middle here. This is a picture showing mice with lung cancer and stage 4 metastatic bone cancer treated with our YKC in the studies. The picture demonstrates that mice leg bones were damaged and broken by cancer cells. As you can see from the picture next to it, YKC could protect mice leg bones from being damaged severely by lung cancer cells. The lower picture demonstrates the leg bones of mice with breast cancer and stage 4 metastatic bone cancer. Treated with our YKC were damaged and almost were broken by cancer cell. As you can see from the lower right corner, YKC could also protect mice leg bones obviously from being damaged by breast cancer cells. To sum up, YKC can fight against cancer effectively because YKC can inhibit every stage, from stage 1 to the stage 4 of the cancer growing process. There are integrity data to back up the effectiveness of YKC. The important information we have to note is that the cancer developing process of all kinds of cancer are the same. Thus, it is great to know taking YKC is suitable and recommended for all kinds of cancers, and it can certainly work. Let's look at the list plot. The tumor inhibition rate is over 70% for the most common cancer cell in humans, like lung, liver, colon, and gastric cancer. Besides, the tumor inhibition rate is over 50% for the deadliest cancer in humans, like pancreas, breast, and the triple-negative breast cancer. The rest were proven by the mice treated with YKC. So what is the inhibition rate of tumor of mice with multiple myeloma treated with YKC? Multiple myeloma is a type of bone marrow cancer. Myeloma doesn't usually cause a lump or a tumor. Instead, it damages the bones and affects the production of healthy blood cells. As for myeloma, it often affected several areas of the body, such as the spine, skull, and pelvis and the ribs. We can check the improvement of the animal subject by the slices of bone marrow tissues from them. These are pictures taken from the slices from the lumbar spine. As you can see, the slice from the mice with multiple myeloma is obviously different from the slice from the healthy mice. As shown in this picture, cancer cells spread all over in the spine of the mice with multiple myeloma. This picture showing the slice of spine from the mice with multiple myeloma treated YKC is similar to the slice of healthy mice. Trineo Biotech Lab inject the fluorescent fluid into the mice body, and cancer cells in the mice body will be dyed by the fluorescent fluid. Then the mouse were put into the machine named in vivo imaging system, and the glowing fluorescent light were detected. The brightening of fluorescent light, especially the area with orange and yellow color, shown on the picture, indicate that they are more significant. This means that more cancer cells are affecting the bones of mice in this area. As you can see from this picture, the fluorescent light of yellow and orange color have vanished in the mice treated with YKC. This means that cancer cells in the spine were eliminated by YKC. According to the result of our animal study, the effective dosage is 4 tablets of YKC of human beings. Taking 2 tablets either before breakfast or bedtime is recommended. This YKC dosage is significantly lower than the dosage for taking basic Lingzhi to fight against cancer. YKC has also been found effective for head and neck cancer, like tongue and nasopharyngeal, thyroid cancer, lymphoma, and melanoma, and ovarian cancer, prostate cancer, and etc. And these data were proven by Trineo Biotech Lab certified by GOP, even after YKC was launched in Taiwan. Because of the high quality and integrity data verifying the effectiveness of YKC, YKC have received patents in various countries, such as United States, Taiwan, Singapore, China, Hong Kong, and Macau. Okay. You can see the description on the U.S. patent stating that therapeutic composition for treating cancer. The high concentration and purification of bioactive constituent, including ganoderic acid (TNS) and the ganodermic acid, were enriched in YKC. YKC can aim and shoot every target of the cancer growing process. These effectiveness are like the effectiveness of targeted drugs for cancer. However, YKC is different from targeted drug. There are two aspects. First, YKC is effective to multiple targets of the cancer growing process, instead of only treating one or two target like targeted drugs. The second aspect is that with YKC, there is no side effect like a patient will get from targeted drug. So I would strongly recommend cancer patients in the various stage of cancer to take YKC to help them recover and get clear improvement. How about the cancer patients that are receiving medical treatment? Should they take YKC? Absolutely. The answer is yes. According to the animal study result, tumor growth inhibition rate of mice treated with cisplatin, a common chemo drug, and YKC is 86.4%, and it is higher than the tumor growth inhibition rate of the mice treated only with cisplatin, being 79.6%. The tumor growth inhibition rate of the mice treated with Tosva, that is a targeted drug for lung cancer, and treated with Tosva and YKC is 77.5%. And it is higher than the mice treated with only Tosva, being 62.1%. The tumor growth inhibition rate of the mice treated with Alimta, that is a chemo drug for serious cancer, with Alimta and the YKC is 70.1%, and it is higher than the mice treated only with Alimta, being 50.3%. From this result, we can see tumors shrink more effectively while they are treated with chemo drugs or targeted drug along with YKC at the same time. Then I'm going to explain the chart on the right. IC50 is a quantitative measure that indicates how much a particular inhibitory substance, like drug, is needed to inhibit in vitro a given biologic process or biological component by 50%. That is, Dr. Robinson is DOX is abbreviation. Okay, it is a potent anti-cancer drug commonly used in treatment of a variety of cancer, and DOX has a wide range of toxic side effects, including brain tissue damage. Take a look at the first row in the box. To kill 50% of the triple negative breast cancer cell, a concentration of 0.83 DOX is needed. When treating triple negative breast cancer cells with DOX and ganoderic acid T, the main active constituent in YKC, as the dosage of ganoderic acid T given were increased from 5 to 20, and the dosage needed of DOX went down from 0.35 to 0.29. So after calculating, we observed that treating with dogs and the ganoderic acid tea could lower 60% dosage of dogs and had the same effectiveness, killing 50% triple negative breast cancer. In other words, it is possible not to receive so much chemo drug and take YKC to obtain higher effectiveness as well. That is a good news to patients with cancers, that they don't have to suffer so many serious side effects from cancer medical treatment, and they may go through the cancer medical treatment smoothly and successfully. The signature of cancer medical treatment and Lingzhi is apparent. So I recommend that patients with cancer, whether they are receiving cancer medical treatment or not, should take YKC. In addition to YKC, I also recommend that the patients with cancer should also take YKB, which also belongs to the equivalent targeted Lingzhi group. The active constituent of these two equivalent targeted Lingzhi are different. YKC is abundant in ganoderic acid, T and S, and ganodermic S. These treater pronoids from Lingzhi can kill cancer cells directly. High molecular and the specific structure of polysaccharide named 1316 beta-glucans is enriched in YKB. The polysaccharide can kill cancer cells indirectly by boosting the immune system and arousing immune cells to fight against cancer cells. Both of these paths can inhibit tumors from growing. So combination of these products' function and benefits can combat cancer powerfully. Thus, we can see from the graph on the right, the tumor growth inhibition rate of the mice fed with YKC is 59.4%. However, tumor growth inhibition rate of mice fed with both YKC and YKB is 81.9%. From this result, we can see that the inhibition rate has gone higher with a 20% increase in its effectiveness when the mice were fed with both YKC and YKB. The result is also confirmed by a second study. If you look at the picture on the left, when the cancer cells of the tumor are dying, it is called apoptosis. When this occurs, they will be dyed by fluorescent fluid and indicated with yellow and orange light. Then, yellow and orange light could be detected by the machine called in vivo imaging system. If the yellow and orange light are more significant, that means that more cancer cells are dead. As you can see, the yellow and orange fluorescent light are apparent in the mice fed with both YKC and YKB. According to this data from the animal study done by Chinese Biotech Lab, YKC with YKB can fight against cancer cells most effectively. In conclusion, cancer patients, no matter the kind of cancer they have, and no matter at which stage of the cancer, whether receiving any medical treatment for cancer or not, I recommend that they should take not only YKC, but also YKB, because of the comprehensive result of the experimental done by Chinese Biotech Lab certified by GOP. Following, I'm going to talk about 3 testimonies. These patients are all at stage 4 of cancer, but have improved by taking YKC, YKB, and YKK or YKS of equivalent targeted Lingzhi. YKC and YKB and YKK or YKS are the standard prescription of Lingzhi products for the patients with cancer. We have mentioned the reason for cancer patients to take YKC and YKB. And now I would like to tell you why patients with cancer should also take YKK or YKS. Because most cancer medications are powerful enough to kill cancer cells. However, they can also cause great harm and damage to our normal cells. A lot of significant side effects may happen, including inducing liver and kidney problems. YKK and YKS are full of leucinic acid from Lingzhi fruit bodies of species YK02. So these two products can protect the liver and the kidney effectively. The function was also proven with the integrity data of study by Chinese biotech lab and obtained patents from various countries. Here is a brief and distinct conception about introducing equivalent targeted Lingzhi to cancer patients. YKC can kill cancer cells directly by its high purification of ganoderic acid T, S, and ganodermic S. YKB, being rich with 1316 beta-glucans, can boost our immune system to fight against cancer cells indirectly. And it also can increase the ability of cell repairing by facilitating the stem cell to regenerate. YKB can help the patients pass through the cancer medical treatment easily and smoothly. YKK or YKS, being rich in leucinic acid, can protect the liver and kidney effectively from being damaged by cancer medication. The first case I'm going to share is the woman, Mrs. Chen, 50 years old, and with hormone positive, HER2 negative, synchronous bilateral breast cancer, and stage 4 metastatic bone cancer. She observed the cancer problem in March 2019, and her CEA test had risen 3-fold than normal levels, and CA15-3 level was 5 times higher than normal. Because of the pain caused by her bones, she couldn't carry out her life as usual. From her description, it was very difficult to dine or do chores, and it was hard to imagine that her body was so painful when she moved her body. So, received breast, uterus, and ovarian anatomy, and targeted and hormone drugs of cancer medical treatment. And at the same time, she took 4 tablets of YKC, 8 packs of YKB, and 2 packs of YKK every day for almost 4 months. It is great to see the progressive improvement. Her cancer index were normal in July 2019, within only 4 months, and still improved continuously through time. The last time she received the data of her cancer index, she was excited and felt blessed because her data from the CA15-3 test was record low with 0.86 since March 2019. As I know, she has been living as a healthy person from 2019 until now for almost 4 years. She took YKC, YKB, and the YKK for the dosage recommended. And during the critical period of her cancer treatment, she even took a higher dosage. By the time of recovery, she decreased the dosage of equivalent targeted Lingzhi gradually. but she has been taking equivalent targeted Lingzhi in a fixed dosage and has been following up with medical appointment to maintain her health. The second testimony is the man, Mr. Zheng, 60 years old and diagnosed with stage 4 gastric cancer. Because the tumor in stomach, it was too big for him to receive an operation. So chemotherapy was suggested, or he had to accept palliative care. His family and he were hard to accept the state of his condition. At the time, his hemoglobin was only 4 grams per deciliter, while the normal data of hemoglobin should be 13 grams per deciliter for men. So he was too weak to receive chemotherapy. From his outline description in April this year, he couldn't straighten his back and had difficulty having a meal because of the big tumor in his stomach. As a result, he lost his appetite and was ran out of energy. His weight was only 55 kilograms when I knew the man from his outline at first. Then I recommended that she should receive some proper medication to help him get enough nutrient from the digestive system. And it could be possible to take Lingzhi and absorb the function constituents from Lingzhi. Thus, he received the stomach stent surgery. A stent is a small metal or plastic tube put into the stomach to relieve a blockage and open up the passage and help the patient swallow and die. At the same time, he has been taken pollen, protein powder, and lactoberry with small amount along with frequent calorie condensed light meals in between to supply enough nutrient. And he has been taking 3 tablets of YKC, 2 packs of YKB, and the 3 tablets of YKS every day as well. And it is good to know that he already had received chemotherapy 4 times from our last encounter. And his health condition has been improving simultaneously, including his hemoglobin rising from 4 to 9.8. His white blood cells compliant with the standard, more than 4,000 cell count. Weight gaining from 55 to 61.4 kilogram. The doctor recommended him to receive 2 more chemotherapy treatment. We can see that the signature of proper medical medication and Lingzhi can fight against cancer effectively, and it may give a man, even a family, hope. The last testimony I'm going to talk about is the woman, Mrs. Shea, and she is 48 years old and diagnosed with head and neck cancer and stage 4 metastatic bone cancer. She had original cancer of nasopharyngeal carcinoma and received radiotherapy and chemotherapy for a period of time, but they failed. The cancer transferred to lymph nodes to the area surrounding from below the left ear to the left side of her neck. And the cancer was also found in her bone, including breast bones and hip bones. And she has been receiving numerous and various types of cancer medical treatment. like surgery to remove lymph nodes surrounding the left neck and ear. And 5 cycles of chemotherapy since January this year, and each cycle lasts for a month. Radiation therapy 12 times for her hip bones, and proton therapy 25 times for neck cancer. That is a tough medical process she has been through, but she is thankful that Shuang Hor Lingzhi helped her to get through numerous treatments, and she still can live as normal as a healthy person with energy. From her upline message, she could go out and have a tour with her husband while she was receiving medical treatment. Relying on her strong will to survive and the patience from her upline, she has been following the recommendation and taking equivalent targeted Lingzhi since October last year, the first time we met. She has taken 5 tablets of YKC, add packs of YKB, and 2 packs of YKK. It is good to know that part of the tumors in her body have vanished, and part of them has been shrinking continuously. From this testimony, we also can realize that taking YKC over 4 tablets each day is safe and acceptable. Here comes the note to remind you how to take YKC. And I recommend that the customer should read and be informed of the note before taking YKC. Number 1, when you take the product for the first time, we suggest you take 2 tablets each time before bedtime. When you feel dizzy at daytime, you should avoid any activity like going outside or driving. From our experience, some customers can digest well because of the damage from chemotherapy. YKC will be absorbed more efficiently by crushing tables with your teeth and then swallowing with warm water. Number 2, to adapt to the feeling of dizziness, you could try to take a stronger dosage like 2 tablets each time before breakfast and bedtime. In the case of needing to work or going outside during daytime, you could take 4 tablets before bedtime instead. And it is important to take YKC at a fixed time and a fixed dosage every day. And the number 3, the third one, according to the animal study, because of the high concentration and purification of ganoderic acetate and the S may enter brains and increase the brain blood supply from neck carotid artery. So the product may cause dizziness. The occurrence of dizziness is common. Taking it for 3 to 5 days continuously, the dizziness may be less apparent. However, the situation will vary depending on individual differences. And number 4, you must have a gap of 2 hours or more between. Have a gap of 2 hours or more between taking YKC and other Lingzhi product. But this doesn't apply to taking YKC with any medication or health supplement, such as pollen, protein powder, vitakin, or lactoberry, and etc. From our experience, there is no need to take basic Lingzhi like Yangken Lingzhi or Yangken Lingzhi 2 if cancer patients can take YKC, YKB, and YKK or YKS. And number 5, to boost your immune system along with fighting against cancer, we will recommend taking at least 2 packs of YKB each time during lunchtime. If cancer patients are receiving the aggressive medical treatment, the high dosage of YKB, like 6 to 8 packs, and YKK or YKS, 1 to 2 packs or 6 to 9 tablets, are used in the as used in the testimonies I have shared earlier, is recommended. Depending on one's financial status, if cancer patients can take YKC, then taking YKB along with medical treatment is highly recommended. And it is also important to maintain the effective dosage of equivalent targeted Lingzhi even when the cancer patients are recovered. So maintaining the effective dosage at least for 3 months after the recovery is recommended and ideal. Return medical appointment and follow-up physical examination are needed. If the data of the examination is stabilized, then decrease the dosage of equivalent targeted Lingzhi gradually is recommended. Okay, after presenting the main function of fighting against cancer of YKC, I'm going to introduce the other function of YKC, and that is modulating and balancing brain neurons which help us fall asleep more quickly. The active component of YKC can pass through the blood-brain barrier into the brain cells and be absorbed by the brain more easily. And this feature is similar to the sustamic acid of YKS, which I had presented during our last meeting. The BBB is a wall of the vessels of the brain, and it is thicker and harder to pass through than other vessels in our bodies. It is thicker and harder because it is a natural barrier for us to prevent bacteria from infecting our brain cells. On the other hand, it makes it difficult for the other medicine and the supplements to pass through the barrier. From our experimental result, we found that ingredients of YKC in the mice's brain. So there's a valid evidence showing that YKC can pass through the BBB and modulate brain neurons. Let's take a look how the brain disease occurs by the degeneration of brain neurons. It is easy to distinguish between a healthy brain and an Alzheimer's disease brain. From the abnormal physical patterns on the right, we can see the cortex shriveled up and it has damaged areas involved in thinking, feeling, and language, and etc. Ventricles are filled with cerebral spinal fluid, so they are enlarged. Hippocampus is the area in the brain that is critical to memory formation, and it shrank severely here. Then, the symptom of Alzheimer's disease may occur by the progressive neurological disorder, and some of its common symptoms are memory loss, having difficulty remembering recent event or conversation. As the disease progresses, memory impairment worsens, and patients can organize their thought, consequently losing behavioral and social skills that affect a person's ability to function independently. From the animal study, we can look at the picture and the upper left corner. That is a brain image from the healthy mouse. From the middle image of the mouse brain here, you can see the solid black line here showing Alzheimer's disease, and it is obvious in the mouse treated without YKC. This means that the ventricles are enlarged. In contrast, the image to its right shows the black line is not so clear. In the mouse with Alzheimer's disease treated with YKC. We can also observe that the whole brain of the mouse suffering from Alzheimer's disease without YKC is shrinking. Its brain size smaller than the brain of the healthy mouse and the Alzheimer's disease mouse treated with YKC. Let's take a closer look at the brain tissue. A beta amyloid formation were dyed by the region. The dark pink areas pointed by the arrows are amyloid plaques and are found in the brain tissues. As a result, there are more and larger amyloid plaques in the brain of mouse with Alzheimer's disease treated without YKC than treated with YKC. YKC can improve the disease that are caused by degeneration of brain neurons, and it was verified by the Triennial Biotech Lab certified by GOP. These are several health problems with brain neuron disorders, like insomnia, which is an autonomic nervous system disorder. Decreasing in the production of serotonin by brain neurons can cause depression in some people. And it is also the main reason found that causes Parkinson's disease. Because of the long-term degenerative disorder of the central nervous system, the symptoms of Parkinson's disease will emerge, such as tremor, slowness of movement, and difficulty with walking. Seizures and epilepsy are also common problems of brain neuron disorder caused by genes defection or accidental injuries. From our experience, YKC can help deal with these problems. If you encounter customers with these brain neurons dysfunction, you can suggest them to take 1 to 2 tablets of YKC before going to bed. It is also common for high-level leaders taking 1 tablet to help fall asleep before bedtime in Taiwan. However, YKS is another option to help them fall asleep, and that has been introduced in the next presentation, depending on each individual financial status. Although equivalent targeted Lingzhi has been launched in Malaysia, equivalent target Lingzhi was designed and produced with a simple intention, and it is to improve the health condition of human beings. If we want to achieve this goal, this new product should be more effective, easier to promote, and more convenient to consume. That is the reason that CEO Mr. Gu founded the Triennial Biotech Lab in 2013. I believe that we can implement 5 core beliefs of Shuang Hor by sharing this product, because the first step of the belief is to offer health to people and help patients get healthier. The company relies on all of us to share the good news of these great products. This is the end of my presentation. I appreciate that time you took to listen to my presentation on YKC, and I hope this presentation has been useful. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Ms. Cheng, for the wonderful and informative sharing. I believe that most of us have learned and obtained some information from her sharing, right? Once again, we would like to invite our Regional General Manager, Mr. Fu Gok-Wah, for our next agenda. Let us welcome Mr. Fu.
Thank you, MC. Many thanks to the head of dietitian, Ms. Lingzhi Cheng, for her sharing. Yes, Lingzhi Ganoderma tablets is a combination of high technology and effective equivalent targeted Ganoderma product, which only require a minimum amount to achieve effectiveness, in which the results are being tested by internationally certified GLP laboratory. I believe that every diamond leader must be very curious to know when the YKC Ganoderma tablets is available. The YKC Ganoderma tablets will be available in Malaysia starting from 25th July 2022. That is the coming Monday. It has 40 tablets per box with distributor price of 5,420 ringgit or 4,460 PV. Shuang Hor had insisted on making Ganoderma products well for the past 30 over years, and now we are still progressing in the forefront of this industry. Today, Shuang Hor has once again broken through the boundaries of health supplements with the advanced mycelium research and development technology coupled with high-tech precision instrument, and through the efforts of professionals, we have successfully brought up another high concentration, high effective equivalent targeted Ganoderma products to the market. I believe that everyone in Shuang Hor will be able to help more people with all these products, realizing the 5 core beliefs of Shuang Hor: offering health, offering faith, offering hope, offering success, and offering happiness, so that life becomes richer and fuller. That's all from me tonight. I would like to pass over to the MC. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Fu. We have come to the end of the product launching. Thank you all for your participation. I believe that we will meet again very soon. Before we end, kind reminder once again that the wonderful global online ceremony for Shuang Hor 35th anniversary will be held online on the 24th of July, which is this Sunday at 2 p.m. Please join us on this great event. Shuang Hor 35th, go for it. See you there. Good night, everyone.